Hello and welcome. This morning we are working on the Pick-a-Stick Challenge, which is for September, and Shell has done the picks. Be sure and check her video showing you all about the picks, and then she'll have another video with her take on the prompts. But I'm going to show you what I have done with the September prompts for the Pick-a-Stick Challenge. Now, this is a Facebook group, and we have monthly challenges, so if you're interested in this sort of journal challenging, become a member of the Facebook group and join in the fun. So this month, the first prompt is plate. So you can see I've gotten out a jelly plate. This is a 5x7 plate, and I'm just working in a small journal. And I have excess on my brayer, so why not use it? So I just put that down on the page, and then the second prompt is crumple. So I'm going to crumple up some paper, and I'm going to use that to texturize the paint that's on my plate. Now, part of the challenge each month is we have a couple of colors picked, and you can see the colors on my plate are not the ones that are on the sheet. These, mostly what I'm using today, are the Dina Wakley Media Paints. This color is what is that one? Olive, and then there's a turquoise or teal looking color. Yeah, I just thought for the background, these would make good soft colors, and I'm going to come in with some other things on top of it. So don't be afraid, I will get to those colors for the month, and the colors are plum and tangerine. So I just continue to work my plate, applying more paint with my brayer and doing a little texturization with the crushed or crumpled paper. And I will create the base layer for my background of my page. And this is easy enough to do. You know, you don't have, this is not rocket science. You know, I'm taking paint off with the crumpled paper, I'm putting it on the page, and then I'm using the plate itself and pressing that down on the page to apply the paint. So that is step number one, paint. Excuse me, not paint, but plate. And you could use anything. I mean, you could use a paper plate or a ceramic plate and just use the edge of it for texturizing, or you know, some kind of metal plate that you've got that's got texture in it. And there are all kinds of things that you can use for plate. It doesn't necessarily have to be a gel print plate, but that's what I have chosen and how I have chosen to interpret the prompt. And that's part of the deal with Pick-a-Stick, is you can interpret these prompts however you see it. So, you know, don't be intimidated by the prompts. Everybody's got something that'll work, so you just don't have to sweat the small stuff. We have one-word prompts, which makes it easy, and then everybody has an opportunity to do something. It's not like you have to have specific products or anything. You don't even have to have paint. You know, you could just use ink or watercolor or whatever it is you have, you know. So I've pretty much got my background covered now with this paint, and we'll move on from here. Okay, step number 3 says trace. And so what I've chosen to do is get out one of my new Stencil Club stencils from Stencil Girl and trace the design that's on that. And here's where the tangerine comes in. I'm going to grab my big brush pens and my stencil, and I'm just going to trace the image from my stencil onto the background to add another layer of texture. And you know, you could trace anything. You could have a design from a magazine that you're tracing around, or you know, sometimes you can scribble on the back of an image with a pencil and then just trace over it, and then you've transferred the image onto your paper. So there are a lot of opportunities for trace. Don't be limited by what I'm doing, but find your own way with this and just use the prompt in whatever way you feel motivated. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do, is trace this out. Now on the Facebook group, we have all of the prompts for each month of the year. There are folders with all of the photos from everybody's pages, and we also have an artist trading card each month. So you might want to join and check out what everybody else is doing, because there's some fabulous work being done. And these challenges are not necessarily easy, but sometimes they make us stretch and do the things that we don't normally think of doing. So that's the point of this, is to just help develop our skills. Okay, so now I have finished with the first stencil and the background with the trace, and I'm going to grab another stencil, and the next step 4 says use some soft, and so I'm going to use some light molding paste because it's soft, and another stencil from Stencil Girl Products, these birds, and I'm just going to put that light molding paste through the opening of the stencil using a palette knife and or spatula or whatever you got. You can use a credit card, you know. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have all of the tools, but I do think that these stencils work really well. If you don't have any stencils, you could cut an image out of a piece of paper yourself and do it that way. But soft could be any number of things too. You could use a soft sponge or a cotton ball or some of those soft fibers, or, you know, think about all the things that we have in our stash that are soft. I'm using this baby wipe. Baby wipes are fairly soft. They work on baby bottoms, right? So think about what you have that's soft and how you can apply it to a journal page. So I'm going to skip the 5th prompt, which is resist, and I'm going to go with knife, which is a wild card, because I am using a palette knife to apply this soft gel medium molding paste, whatever you have, to my background. So I think I fulfilled that by using the knife portion. Now I'm going to grab some ink. This paste is dry, and I'm going to apply that plum color. This is a archival ink, which is a permanent ink, and it is plum that I'm using. So I'm going to apply that to my birds, and then I'm also going to get a tangerine type color, and I'm going to apply that to the belly side of my birds and down their legs. So I have both colors used in my birds for this. Now the very last prompt is globe, and I am choosing not to use that one either. I'm going to use the wild card, which is Sgraffito. So let me show you what I do with that. Now, some of you may not be familiar with this terminology, but all that means is that you're going to scratch through layers to reveal what's underneath. So I'm just creating color from that pile of colors that I've already used, because, you know, when you create something from the paints that you have already out, you know, you're staying in the same color family, and it's going to blend well with your page. So I've got that plum and that olive color and a little bit of a gray, and what I'm trying to do is create something that appears to look a little bit like a tree branch. So I'm going to get my knife out once again. This is just a palette knife that I'm mixing the paint up with, and I'm going to paint with my knife across my page and do something similar to a tree branch for my birds to be sitting on. So once I get all of that paint down and it's still wet, I'm going to take a tool and I'm going to scratch through the paint to reveal the layer underneath, and then I will have fulfilled that particular part of the challenge. Now, that's all the steps to the challenge, but that doesn't mean that you can't add more. So I'm looking at my page and I'm saying, okay, I need to do more. I need to finish this out. It's a good start on a page, but you know, you need to add some highlights. You need to, you know, put some eyes on the birds. So I will just do some finishing touches. I hope you enjoyed this challenge. I hope you join Shell and I each month for Pick a Stick Challenge. If you like my video, be sure and give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell down below so that you get notifications. And I want to thank you all for being with me today. And remember, you make a difference. So be kind, and I'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.